welcome officially to tonight's Wednesday night training. I am super excited to have the incredible Kelly Jackson here with us. For those of you that have not had the pleasure of meeting her, she is first my friend. We've been friends for a very long time, and she, in the last 2 years or so, has helped me and also Jordan up level our businesses through some of these tools that she's going to be sharing with you tonight. And again, she's amazing. So I'm going to let her introduce herself. I'm also going to mute somebody. I love you. I'm a squirrel, and I'm sure it's probably an accident. Boom. Okay. So I will let you take it over, Miss Kelly Jackson. Let me know if you need anything.
Is it possible for me to share my screen?
Yeah. Hang on.
If not, fine.
Oh, we can figure it out. I know. I can make you, can I make you the host?
Yeah.
Then host can share screen. So that will be the easiest way for me to do that without completely messing everything up. Boom. Boom. All right, you are the host.
Delightful. I should have asked you that before right now.
Okay. I was like, I'm sure that's a possibility, but also I don't know. But also that means I can't mute people when they come in. So
I can handle that. That's fine.
Okay.
All right. So, oh my gosh, hello. I am so delighted to be here. Before we get into anything, you may have seen the post that Shayna put up in y'all's team Facebook group that had a few choice words in there, and I put choice words intentionally in all of my marketing because I say fuck, and if that's distracting to you, you need to know in advance. So hello. I'm so delighted to be a guest speaker for you and so grateful that you have chosen to spend some time with me this evening. I know that your time is extremely valuable, as is mine. So in order to honor us all, I want to provide you with some incredible value this evening by helping to shift your perspective on sales so that you can honor yourself and your clients more fully and deepen the relationships you have with them, which will grow your business organically. Essentially, I think most of what is traditionally taught in sales about sales is bullshit. And I'm going to offer you something different that works. And in case we don't know each other, I'd like to offer you a little bit of information about me, my background, and why the fuck I'm qualified to offer you my sales philosophy. So I am a life and business coach, and I came to coaching from a very successful career in the direct sales industry. I sold sex toys for 12 years. And at times it was my sole source of income. At times it was my primary, but not only source of income, because it is possible to build an entrepreneurial endeavor that allows you plenty of time for the other shit you love. In my direct sales career, I rose through the ranks of leadership, earned tons of incentives from branded clothing to electronics to trophies that are all on this shelf here, to a $2,000 Swarovski crystal encrusted, totally beautiful and super impractical handbag, private and group coaching programs that were offered to top leadership, and so many trips. I actually hung out for a week in, we were in Cabo, right? With Shayna. That's where we solidified our friendship a little more deeply, I think. We had known each other for years before that, but because I led a team and earned corporate's trust, I had the honor of teaching and coaching hundreds of business owners. And when it came to sales, marketing, and business systems, I was doing shit that nobody else was doing. And it worked. Not because I had special magic scripts or methods, but because I honored my full self and taught honoring your full self and your clients' full selves as the core foundation of everything. Copy paste strategies are bullshit because they're not yours. So I'm not here to give you magic words, and we're not going to go into the specifics of what you're offering as if that makes a difference in how you sell it. because none of that matters. Your party presentation, the verbiage you use in your hostess coaching and follow up, and which incentives you use to book parties, irrelevant, as long as you love them. My goal is to offer you a gentle shift in perspective on the meaning of sales in the way that I have helped hundreds of other women do the same. And you'll have some time to ask questions and get clarification, and then we'll just open the floor for whatever comes up. I've loosely scheduled an hour in my world for this, but evenings are kind of my jam. So I set this time with solid intention, knowing that I have time for focus around this time of the day or evening or whatever. So whatever you need, I'm here for. And in case, like I said, you've not noticed, I've intentionally included some choice language into this little intro here. Why? Because again, I say fuck a lot, and I want to help the shock value wear off just a little bit before we get into the real goodness, so that if it's something you're not into, it's a little less jarring for you during the rest of our time together. I don't edit myself for your comfort. I lean into all of who I am. And that, my darling love bugs, is part of why I've been so successful. I recommend it very highly. Lean into all of who you are. Now I'm going to share my screen here. And okay. I know you see my little things over here on the side. We're just going to go with that. Can you see this main thing here? Is it like big enough and everything? Yeah. Okay, cool. If I do it in the real view, how you're supposed to play this, then I can't see my notes. So you're just gonna see my side stuff here too. It's gonna be all right. So okay, let me shift things around so that I can see my notes. All right. So straight up, in no way do I pretend to know what's right for you. I do, however, know that the bullshit many of you are telling yourselves about sales is not helping you. So, full disclaimer, contained within these slides are pieces of my proven sales philosophy. I offer them to you here for you to see that they're possible to hold, so that you can decide what to try on, what to keep, and what to toss. I'm offering you information. You get to make the decision. We may agree on some things. You may disagree with me on some, and you're totally allowed to do that. I only invite you to consider what I'm offering you here to create some gentle shifts for yourself so that your own sales philosophy will start to serve you and your clients better. Sales happen for two reasons. A need has arisen, or in other words, they had a thought, or something has created a need or a want, or in other words, they've been offered a thought and they've consented to accepting that thought. But y'all have some other unhelpful definitions of what sales means, and they're holding you back and holding your clients back. And I know that because I led a team for a long ass time. So we need to redefine what sales means in your brains. And we could get into the psychologically manipulative approaches to certain sales and advertising practices and marketing tactics. We could talk about the high pressure sales techniques that people are trained to do. But what I want to offer you here is that many of you think that shit happens naturally, that someone inherently taps into the techniques and tactics that are based on research, taught in universities, trained in companies, and not at all something that anyone is magically born with. It's an intentional, learned approach that most people I've sold to and coached don't fucking like. And the great news, you're not even going to come close to any of that when you show up as yourself to offer what you have available to someone who wants it. So let's get into what you probably think sales means. Bullshit thoughts people have about sales. Part 1. Can you see these here? I know they're kind of small, and if you're on a phone, you might not be able to see them. I'm happy to read through them for you. These are the things, the last couple of times I've done this webinar, I had people email me or DM me with thoughts that they have about sales. And this is some of the shit that came through. Like the most common shit that came through. It's like sales is pushy or invasive or unethical or just a big ass fear of like, I don't know how to sales. Or things like you're either born with a natural sales vibe or you're not. Or I don't want someone to buy my stuff if they don't want it. This kind of stuff is super, super common. How many of y'all think something like this? That to be good at sales, you have to be pushy, gross, unethical. There are certain words or tactics to learn or just ways of being that make someone good at sales, but mostly in a gross way. Often what I find is that these beliefs come up really big in reference to closing the deal, getting someone to sign, or overcoming objections. I've seen some hands so far, so I know this is landing with some of you. Yeah, exactly. So here's the baseline of this. These all boil down to a misconception of the meaning of sales, that sales and selling is trying to convince someone to purchase something they don't need or don't want. That's the baseline misconception here. But what if sales really just means providing information and making an offer so that the other person can make an informed choice on their own behalf? And what if by not selling, you're actually taking away their choices and robbing them of their autonomy because they don't have the appropriate information and don't know the options available to them? If I don't give you information upon which you can base a decision, I'm making that decision for you. And again, I don't know what's right for you. So like, why would I want to do that? I don't want to make your decisions. I got to make my own. All right. How about bullshit thoughts people have about sales? Part 2. People will buy what they want. They'll book when they want. They'll join when they want. Or if they want it, they'll ask for it. Now, these beliefs make the assumption that their desires will lead them to book a party, join your team, ask to join your client group, or purchase refills and new products from you if they want to. But what's more likely is that if you don't offer it, they'll think that you don't like them, or that you don't want to work with them as a hostess, or in the case of joining your VIP group or your team, that you don't want to work with them further. And if they do want something you have to offer, you're right, they'll get it, but they'll do so elsewhere because they won't want to risk humiliation by asking someone they think doesn't want to give it to them. I cannot tell you how many people I sold products to, booked in-home parties with, and sponsored onto my direct sales team simply because I asked them when no one else had ever asked them before. If you don't ask, the answer will always be no. When a guest at a direct sales party doesn't book a party of their own, or a direct sales hostess doesn't become a consultant after hosting a party, the most common reason given is that the consultant for her party didn't ask. And I know you've heard this before because I came from your company. I know the shit that corporate drills into your brain. But here's the thing. It has nothing to do with the desire of the guest or the hostess. It has everything to do with the fact that the consultant is making it about herself instead of what the business can do for the hostess or the party can do for the guest. And for a specific example of this, a friend of mine who lives in Alexandria, Virginia, asked all the right questions and did all the right things for the consultant at the first direct sales party she attended to ask her to join her in business. But the consultant was afraid to make the ask. My friend, though, she wanted to become a consultant. So she went online, signed up under the first person she could find who was halfway across the country here in Kansas City, where I live. Now, she likely would have had more support with a local team, but she didn't want to go to the consultant she met because she got the impression that the consultant didn't want her. And it's the same with anything else you're selling. When you don't offer your clients the opportunity to book with you, join your social community, attend your events, purchase the hot new items, and join your team, if they want it, they're more likely to go find it elsewhere than to figure out how to get it from you. And the reason you're not asking is because you're making that ask mean more about you than you are about what it could do to help the client. Now, I'm not saying that you'll create their thoughts or their emotional state. That's not a thing. I am, however, saying that you're expecting your client to have more confidence in what you have to offer than you have as their consultant. You're expecting them to ask for something you're not offering. And while we may actively work to build trusted relationships with them, you're still the authority in their mind. So you're the one with the power, and that power is to offer them information so that they can then step into their power to make a decision. Your part comes first. Will there be clients who buck the system and ask for what they want? Sure, but they're the occasional few, not the standard many. Bullshit thoughts people have about sales. Part 3. Taking money from other people equals icky. Marketing is okay because it's serving an audience for free. So that might be like your VIP group. That's okay. I can talk about that because that's serving them for free. Or something capitalism. We're going to get a little political here in a second, and we're going to talk about capitalism, but listen, in any sort of transaction, there is an exchange. When you accept payment for your products, you're delivering something in exchange for that payment. In no way do I believe the client-consultant relationship is transactional. I believe this is a relationship built on trust. However, there will always be an exchange in your client relationships, just like it is in any other relationship you have. And your client relationships happen to be professional. Sometimes they may also be personal, and that makes the monetary transaction even more crucial because it helps create boundaries around your business. They pay for X. You know that. They know that. There are inherent structures based on your professional offer. You can rely on those structures to ensure the integrity of your business. And here's something I've found to be relatively true in most instances when comparing free versus paid events and experiences. People don't show up for free shit. I'm sure there are exceptions to this concept, and you might think this workshop is one of them. But what I've found over the course of a decade putting together various training events and programs is that when people are financially invested, they're more emotionally invested, and they're more likely to show up for themselves and do the work. Personally, I would much rather take someone's money in exchange for a high value opportunity for their own growth and transformation than expect them to be as emotionally invested for free, because I know how much more they'll get out of the work when they're invested in it. This primarily has to do with the business opportunity. Is this a capitalistic viewpoint? Sure. Would I much rather we live in a society that's not dripping with capitalism? Yes. Politically, give me socialism. You don't have to agree with me. But just like I can choose to let sexism, homophobia, and all the other systems of oppression I live under paralyze me, or I can choose to recognize that they exist and decide how I want to show up to dismantle them, I can make the same choice about how I show up to capitalism. We're going to come back to capitalism here in a second, but I want to address the idea that people don't show up for free shit a little deeper, because this is free and you're here. But you, my darling love bug, are magic. You are the exception. Only the most dedicated people who are already emotionally invested will show up without a financial investment. We may already have a relationship. You may already trust me on some level. If you don't know and trust me yet, you do trust your upline who invited me to be here with you. And you thought maybe I could teach you something or help you in some way with something that you already give a shit about. But consider paid versus free events you've attended that are similar in concept. A paid concert versus a free concert. A paid festival versus a free festival. A paid retreat versus a free retreat. Consider the number of people who attend and the attention paid to the event, especially when there are big numbers like at a free concert, or to the opening band versus the headliner. There may be bodies in attendance, but are they fully showing up for the experience itself? I say again, of course there are exceptions, but as a generality, people don't show up for free shit. And I know your parties are technically free, but your products aren't. And if you want your clients to use the products you sell, which I assume you do, don't discount the hell out of them. Also not free, your business opportunity. Don't buy their kit for them because you feel sorry for them. That's actually not helpful. Instead, help them figure out how to invest in themselves. That doesn't have to look like any particular thing, but help them figure that out, and it'll be far more helpful than you actually buying the thing for them. And now a note on capitalism, because I do consider myself an anti-capitalist, and I've created very non-traditional pricing structures within my coaching business. How can the juxtaposition of sales and anti-capitalism go together? By accepting a truth that capitalism exists. We can all agree on that as a factual truth of the time and place in which we live, and we could all go live off grid and opt out of the capitalistic society that surrounds us. But how many people would we be able to reach from there? Probably not many. And how big of an impact could we make there? Probably not much of one. So since we do operate within a capitalistic society, I choose to use what I know and believe in to help other people feel invested in their own growth by asking them to pay for it. And I encourage you to do the same. And my philosophy is that their money is far better off in my hands than it is in the hands of Amazon, Pornhub, Miller Coors, or any other company that profits off of people trying to feel better and then fucks up the world with those profits. And I believe the same is true of money flowing into your hands. I want you to make some big fucking money, because when it's in your hands, it's not in the hands of Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, or the Koch brothers. Okay, enough politics here. Back to my actual sales philosophy. Often it's said that people do business with those whom they know, like, and trust. And I'm here for that, but I'd like to take it a little deeper with regard to paying for your products and joining your VIP group, booking a party with you, and joining your team. Your clients want to work with you. And regardless of what your offer looks like, they want to continue working with you when these three things happen. Education. They've learned something about themselves from your marketing and from working with you. Emotional connection. They know, like, and trust you, and they believe you know, like, and trust them. Evolution. They've seen growth or progress, and you've celebrated that with them. Or if they're new to you, they believe you will celebrate that growth and progress with them. If you've got a paper and pen handy, you're going to want to grab it for this next bit. I'll give you a couple of minutes per slide here for your own self-exploration, and we can discuss what comes up here in a few minutes. So, education. You're all well educated. I know the kind of training that you get, because I got it. You're all well trained. You're all excellent consultants, and you can teach the concepts that lead your clients to their own decisions in your sleep. So let's take a minute and explore how that's true for you. What have you learned, either through a formal educational setting, through team and corporate trainings, or through your own life experiences, that has allowed you to become an excellent consultant? What is it that you know to be true with regard to your presentation and the education you provide to your clients about your products? Where can you lead your clients in your sleep? Now set a timer for 2 minutes and let you answer those questions for yourselves. All right, we're going to move on to the next slide of questions here. You all care about your clients, and that comes through in how you show up for them. How is that true for you? How do you show that you care about your clients in your communication with them? How do you show that you care about them in your social community or your VIP group? How do you show that you care about your clients during your parties? I'm gonna give you another 2 minutes for this one. All right, the third E is evolution. You all notice and celebrate the progress that your clients have made, decisions that they make when they decide to book a party, when someone decides to join your team, when someone upgrades to your VIP levels, whatever that looks like. So what does celebration look like in your client communication? What does it look like in your social media community, your VIP group? And what does it look like at your parties? I'll give you another 2 minutes here. All right. So these questions are to help provide you with evidence that you are engaging in these 3 E's: education, emotional connection, and evolution with your clients. And what that means is that your network of people wants to book with you, who want to purchase from you and sign with you. And when that one conversation or event ends, they want to continue working with you. Let me say that again. Your clients want to continue working with you. And selling them on that continued work isn't convincing them to take an action they don't need or don't want. It's simply providing them the information of how to do the thing they already want to do. Booking another party with you, joining your VIP group, joining your team, and providing that information in a way that is warm and inviting, a way that subtly lets them know that you do want to continue working with them. Follow-up, or what I call reservicing, is a place where I find a lot of consultants struggle. The party ends, and because you see the relationship as somewhat transactional, if not entirely transactional, you think the relationship also ends. So you don't know how to approach keeping the relationship going. Now, that's a different training that I'm happy to do for you at a later date. But here's a shift that I want to invite you to consider. A customer is transactional. I'm a customer at Target or Costco or wherever else. A client is trusted. I'm a client of my massage therapist, of my hairstylist, of the service providers I see for something specific, either regularly or not. They know me. They know my preferences. They know my stories. In my mind, when someone becomes my client, they're mine forever. That doesn't mean that they can't go work with somebody else. That doesn't mean that they see me in perpetuity until the end of time. It simply means that they're always welcome to work with me, which may look different over time. And I maintain my side of our relationship within my own consciousness and how I show up for them, both inside and outside of our traditional professional relationship, which also may look different over time. Ultimately, it's not your job to decide for them that they don't need what you have to offer, which is sort of what you're doing by not selling. It is simply your job to let them know how to book, purchase, join, or invite them to participate in that process and allow them to make their own informed decision. And you can trust them to do that when you trust yourself to share the information with them in a way that feels good to you. Just like I did for you at the beginning of this training with this statement. And to share some information with you about what I do offer as a coach, my biggest and most extensive, most transformational offer is Pressure Point Coaching. It's a year-long commitment, and it offers a complete shift in every aspect of life that you want to change. I'm now, as of September, offering it exclusively for direct sales teams at a very temporary price of $10K per team. Now it's going to go up to $25,000 per team in 2023. Why? Because I'm doing team trainings for you now, and you are where I came from. My journey began with passion parties and then pure romance. And I want to offer this team format to you first at an introductory price point as a gift of gratitude. Why teams? Because I've been running this program for 2 years, and the connections formed and trust built within the cohorts of the program are just as valuable as the personal transformation. And the value of building that within a direct sales team is unmatched. You will grow as a team in this program. That power is invaluable. So minimum of 5 consultants per cohort, maximum of 10, all for $10,000. And y'all can work out how that pricing is divided amongst you. Is it best for everyone to pay the same amount? Great. Will it work better for your team if leaders pay a bit more than their team members? Great. Would it be even better if 5 leaders got together for one cohort and 10 of their team members work together in a second cohort? Great. These details can all be worked out collectively when you opt in. We'll figure that out. I also run a self-coaching collective that's super low cost, roughly the same price as your favorite streaming service, but with way bigger potential impact on your life. What will be most effective for you in a short-term sense is my 6-week sales soiree that takes this workshop into the depths of your business to help you find your sales voice. We have a private Facebook group for community support. You'll receive proven sales tools, and we have weekly co-working sessions as well as weekly calls for coaching and strategizing. The success stories coming out of this soiree have been absolutely incredible, from tripling the investment back in the income in the first 2 weeks to creating entirely new revenue streams within their businesses to signing someone up for the very first time. I'm offering this soiree one last time this year at $600. The investment price goes up to $1,800 in January. However, should you decide to participate in the round I have coming up in a couple of weeks, starts in October, you'll be locked in at $600 every time I offer it. So if you'd like to do another round, even after the price goes up, you'll still just pay that $600. And regardless of whether you decide to join me in the soiree or another one of my programs, I'm going to offer you a homework assignment to take this work with you and practice honing your sales philosophy, your sales language, and your sales technique. And the assignment is this: sell someone or something else every day for a week. Not you, not your parties, not your products, not your business opportunity. This is your friend's art exhibit, or the cupcake shop that the world needs to know about, the book that you know someone else will definitely identify with, the movie that you know your group of friends will love. This is going to take you out of it and what you offer out of it, to give yourself a little distance so you can develop some awareness around how it feels, what you say, why you're connecting the experience or product or information with that person or those people you're sharing it with. It'll help you identify how you communicate about that, because that is how you sell authentically, and it's how you will best sell your own offer. I would love to send you the workbook for that homework assignment. And if you drop your email in the chat, I'll send you the workbook and sign you up for my email list so that you'll get new non-shitty sales and business tips each week. And if you would like to connect with me on social media, I'd love to share that space with you. On Instagram, I am Keli Jackson. On my Facebook business page is my first name, Keli. And you can also find my podcast on the normal places. It's called F Words, Your Business is Feminist as Fuck, because I truly believe that success in the direct sales industry is a feminist endeavor. So, okay, how do I stop share here? There we go. Yeah, I'm not sharing now, correct? Amazing. Okay, so tell me, what came up for you during this shindig? Just unmute yourself.
I was literally about to type. I was like, okay, she called me. For me, I was not surprised at all, but realized that I too believed that sales was like, it came up that the manipulation was like, oh, convincing them that I had to do that I had to be the one to convince them that they needed it, when, and that never feels good. You don't want to convince someone. And so that definitely came up to me. And it's funny because Jordan and I were just talking about it the other day, about providing all of the information when someone asks about a specific problem that they're having. I think the specific one was low libido, and how we have a bajillion products to offer for that. And you can list literally every single one. And she did it flawlessly and sold a bajillion dollars worth. And to me, I was like, holy crap, it's that easy. Like, you're just providing them the information, but listing out 100 products to me was like, they're going to think that I'm trying to sell them all of these things, and that I'm giving them too much to choose from, when really that's just not possible. Like, giving them the information, letting them pick what's going to work best for them, because you can't possibly know. And so that was something that I was like, yep, there's work to be done there.
Yeah. And when you're in the space of convincing, you're right. That doesn't feel good. And they can tell. They're like, yo, no, thank you.
That. Yeah. And the same thing when you're trying to quote unquote convince someone to book a party, or convince someone that their life would be better if they had pure romance on, like if they were on your team. Like none of it feels good. And I can feel it when it's someone else doing it to me. And so therefore I'm like, I don't want to come across as that. So I'm, you know enough about me. I'm just going to not. I'm just going to be like, no, I'm going to sit out. I'm
That's
gonna
how I feel also.
Yeah.
I feel the same way.
Just gonna not. So, but doing it authentically. And I think for the ones that I know on here, many of us are working through that. So this couldn't have come at a better time. Because that's, again, just like Mindy saying, without sounding fake, and finding who you are and not just copying and pasting and hoping for the best. It's yeah, perfect timing for this group for sure.
Yeah, not pitching. I fucking hate. Pitches can suck all of my dicks, and I got a lot of them. I used to do the shit that you do. So
dead.
Awesome. What else came up for anybody?
She doesn't bite, y'all, for real.
Not unless you ask. No, consent.
Because consent is key.
100%. What kinds of things came up for you when you were answering the questions from the slides?
Okay, so my phone really hates Zoom for whatever reason. And I literally missed like half of your presentation. So I will most definitely have to go back and rewatch it.
Totally.
But I'm kind of going off with what Shayna said as well, because at sometimes it really feels like, how do you get that yes when they've already said no? Because they teach you like, okay, they say no, but sometimes no doesn't mean no. Sometimes no means I just need more information. But then you give them that more information and then they're like, okay, like I really mean no. Or then it could go a different way as well. Like, okay, I meant no, but like, okay, now you've convinced me that it's yes. And like, just like telling your brain, like, how do you get your brain to be like, okay, it's not a bad thing to do that. But then like consent is key, so like how do you get your brain to stop that going back and forth between doing it or don't doing it, being too pushy and trying to be convincing, and then just not doing it at all because you don't want to be pushy or convincing.
How to get your brain to change takes time, but why do you want it to change? That's the real question.
Because you don't want to feel shitty when you're trying to be, that person, when you're trying to be like real and authentic and creating that relationship with that person. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be too pushy. You don't want to feel like you're being too pushy.
Yeah, because being pushy is not real and authentic.
Right.
You're trying to do two things at once. Stop doing the pushy part. Just do the real and authentic part. That's the thing to do.
Yeah, I literally was going to say that being real and authentic that's not going to feel like shit. So if it's feeling like shit, you're not being real and authentic. That's your first clue.
Yeah. When you come at your sales conversations from a place of authenticity, you're going to be able to open up curiosity a lot more easily. So when someone says no, you'll be able to understand if that truly means no fucking thank you, stop talking to me, or if it means no, I don't actually understand what you're saying. And you'll be able to ask questions to gain clarity. And then understand what it is that they're saying to you. Chances are pretty good if someone says hard no, those two letters together as a word, that actually means no. But most of the time, that's not what people say. They don't actually say the word no. They say something else that then you interpret as, okay, I'm going to stop saying words now because you're afraid of being pushy. And instead of being afraid of being pushy, step into really, truly who you fucking are. And you'll be able to have a real conversation instead of coming at the communication from that fear-based place. Does that make sense?
Oh, I didn't realize I was muted. Sorry.
Oh.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. In the 6-week sales story that I mentioned, I'm doing it right now for the very first time. And the people who are in there are not direct sellers. I've got coaches, I've got a VA, I've got a web designer. And so none of them have ever had sales training before of any kind. And they are all scared shitless of the idea of having a sales conversation. And this has been the foundation of everything I have taught them is have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all. When you show up to have a conversation, or as one person said, oh, it's like just having a chat. I was like, yeah, just have a chat. Just like have a chat, because when you're having a chat, you're a real fucking person and you are allowing them to be a real fucking person. When you're selling in the place of pushy and salesy and whatever the fuck else you make that mean, then you're not actually showing up as your true self. You're showing up as some fucked up version of you who you think you're supposed to be based on some bullshit criteria that corporate gave you or some other person on a stage gave you with some magic words that you think you're supposed to say. And that's not you. And so the whole time you're thinking, wait, okay, was that a no? Am I supposed to ask some sort of bullshit question here? I don't really remember. What are the words of the bullshit question? I don't know. No, stop.
And I'm not going to lie to you. That is exactly my brain. That is exactly like.
I know. I led a pure romance team for fucking years. I know. And the training that you get is phenomenal. And it doesn't work for everyone. It works for a lot of people, but it doesn't work for everyone. And like, as a coach and as a team like leader, upline, whatever the fuck, I don't even know what my last title was whatever, some level of directorness, whatever of, I was on the
board of directors.
I was on that thing. But anyway, like when I was doing that shit and people would come at me with some like, specified sales language or closing the deal or whatever, I would just shut the fuck down. Like, this is not my jam. This is not my style. You do your thing over there. I love you for doing it. And it's not mine. And that's okay. That's okay. Chris talks about everything being like a buffet or whatever, right? Like there's a whole lot of shit lined out for you. Take what works for you. What doesn't, you ain't got to eat it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think it's important too, like, for me anyway, growing up watching my dad being a salesperson, even though it was produce, we did it for years. I watched him and how he interacted with people, but he was just himself. He was the same person 7 days a week. Okay. And you read people's energy and they read yours. So they're going to know right off the bat whether or not, okay, this is just somebody out for some money. They don't give a shit about me. Or whether they're actually like, okay, this person's pretty cool. This is a different side of a sales thing. Everybody knows what an MLM business is nowadays, and they have a bad rep a lot of times. And so you get into this business and you automatically have that preconceived disposition, like, okay, I'm getting into this, and you start getting nervous. I did when I first started out. But I mean, pretty much everything you've been saying is pretty much what I follow, because I'm like, okay, they say this is your business. Okay, it's my business. I'm going to run it how I want. But I am going to listen to my trainings. I am going to take out of it, what I deem fit, what I think is going to make me successful, what I know is going to make me successful. I listen to those people that have had experience, and I listen and I read their energy, and so I kind of know, what I want to go. And now I'm nowhere near where I want to be, of course, but that's on me. I'm working towards getting there, busy life, we all know how that is. But it's one of those things where if I'm very avid about, if you are branding yourself, then be yourself, because a lot of times the people that you get as people to support you in the beginning are your friends and family, so they already know how you are anyway. And word of mouth goes a long way. Very
Absolutely.
long way.
Absolutely. And when you build your direct sales business from a place of authenticity, you're playing the long game. That's what's going to create stability. That's what's going to create longevity, so that it becomes a real, true, actual business. Whether it's part-time or full-time is irrelevant, but it becomes an actual sustainable thing, as opposed to just a flash in the pan where maybe you make a couple $100 and then it fizzles out. And that's what happens so frequently, which is part of why direct sales gets such a bad rap, right? But when you build your business from a place of authenticity, when you build your client relationships on true connection, allowing your clients to be in their power and make their own decisions instead of trying to push shit on them that you may or may not actually believe in. Like, listen, I can't tell you how many times I said to people at parties, like, oh, I'm not taking your money for that. That's not what you want. And they would be like, what do you mean? Oh, because that thing is not what you want. What you're telling me is X, Y, and Z. You want this. And they trusted me for that. They trusted me for that. That built longevity. And everything is built on trust. And in order to have trust, you have to have authenticity. You can't show up as a fake ass version of yourself and have them trust you.
And it takes time. Nothing happens overnight. You have to have patience. Sometimes it's learned, sometimes, you have it. But, there's a couple, a few months ago, a good example, a friend of mine that I became really good friends with. She's a lawyer that travels to prisons, okay, to teach inmates how to basically defend themselves because they don't have rights to lawyers. And I mean, she clears a good 120 to 150K a year. And she called me up and she was like, hey, I got this product. I got this opening act, and it's done for. I've had it, and I need a new one. Did she go to anybody else? No, she came to me. We used to hang out, whatever. And this is a friendship that is occurred over the last 2.5 years. And so I was like, okay, yeah, awesome. I mean, I didn't push her for anything else, right? Because they know, sometimes you have to read between the lines on people, but she is a very confident woman. She knew what she wanted. And I was like, okay. And she was like, I was like, by chance, you have lube and all that stuff, right? Because that's important. I don't want you hurting yourself, right? And so she was like, no, just throw it in. I was like, well, what kind do you want? And she was like, well, what do you think's best? And I was like, okay, this. It's cheap, a little bit cheaper, whatever. She ended up spending over $400. And she was like, anything else you think I need, just put it in my cart. I'll pay for it. Now, did I do that? Did I take advantage of that? No. But she knows that.
Yeah,
I think sometimes they give you the opportunity to see whether or not you're gonna take them for the money. No, I'm not like that. I'm not. I'm just gonna be like,
clients trust you. They'll do what you tell them to do because they know that you have their best interest at heart. And that comes with showing up authentically, as opposed to trying to use some sort of manipulative sales tactic that is closing the deal or overcoming
Mhm.
objections or whatever other kind of bullshit.
Yeah. And for me, it wasn't even about uh what they at first. It wasn't even about what they needed. I realized it was their yes or their closing the deal meant that I did something right. I was making it mean that I was a good person, but that
Mhm.
doesn't feel good to them. So when I was able to know my worth, regardless of what their answer was, yes or no, it allows you to show up again authentically and not try, like when Chelsea was talking about, well, what do I say next? Well, what would you say next? And if their answer was no, what are you making that mean about yourself? Because who cares? Like,
Mhm.
if you're making it mean something about yourself, that's the problem. It doesn't really matter what you say or how you say it. It's, are you providing all of the information? All right, cool. They said no. The end. Cool. Next. You know, and that was for me where I was. And again, you get afraid of rejection because what does that mean about me? I didn't do my job right. I didn't give enough information. I'm a terrible person. Brains are weird, man.
Yeah.
Well,
Sometimes I don't think of something until after the fact. I'm like, oh, duh.
yeah, but it's showing up authentically and having, like she said, the trust and confidence in yourself and your offer, so that even if they say no, that doesn't mean that your offer is bad or that you're a terrible person, because that's what some of our brains, I shouldn't speak for all of our brains, but
Well, we're
some of them,
essentially socialized to hinge our self-worth on how other people respond to us. If you say yes to me, then that means I did it right. That means I'm good. And if you say no to me, then that means I did it wrong. And that means I'm bad. And like, that
Mhm.
shit just ain't real.
It's instilled in us since a young age,
I
honestly.
know.
When you're
That's
learning right
it.
from wrong. Yeah.
And dismantling all of that socialized bullshit is what my foundation is in the coaching programs that I lead. I'm like, strip that shit away.
So
No.
my question is, how do we teach this to children? Because
Please, because I need to
my
know that too.
my 7-year-old is I recently realized, because brains and being in Kelly's program will literally change the way that your brain works. And I realized that she was using us buying her things and saying yes as a way to make her feel good. And I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. This is not what we're doing here. Because
It's okay to be told no. It is okay to be
yeah,
told no.
yeah, it didn't feel good though. She was making it mean. I don't know what she was making it mean, but it was terrible. And I was like, no, no, just because we say no doesn't mean that we're mad at you or that you've been bad, or like, it just means that
Right.
the answer is no. Because sometimes I would say yes. I said yes to ice cream. That child took 2 bites of the ice cream. Did she want ice cream? No. She wanted me to say yes. That was
Mhm.
it. She got her little brain chemical drip. She got her
Mhm.
little dose, and then she was good. She didn't actually want the ice cream. So
Yeah. The
Mm.
how to teach it to children, I think the most effective way is to do your own work and show up that way.
Yep.
And every
You show
kid
up
is
that way,
different.
you give them the example to follow.
Yep. It's been a whole
Oh,
example.
my kids have seen me, fail at things many times, but you just kind of gotta show them that you keep going no matter what. Try again, or try a different way, or whatever the case. There's not a yes to everything. So I mean, you can't. I kind of think of it as yes and no on a balance scale. Yes weighs just as much as no, but sometimes that teeter totters, and that's okay.
Mhm.
It's never gonna stay, where you want it. You just gotta have to deal with things as they come along. So
Yeah. All right, what else can I offer you all before I close it out? I don't know how long you normally are on here.
We're here for an hour, so we're right on time. Right on
Okay, great.
schedule.
Any other last minute questions, comments, or concerns? I've copied in your email addresses, so I'll get the workbook sent out to you, and Get you added
And
to my
every
email
single
list.
one of you should, yes, follow her emails, like read them. They are amazing little bits of content. And at the very least, I feel like you will get massive, massive value from the Rexy Collective. Is one of my favorite spaces in the whole interwebs, and the coaching calls that she offers are magical. So that is the end.
Thank you. I appreciate that. How do I hand this back over to you?
Oh, you can just yeet us if you want. If you click leave, and then you can just yeet us all. You can say goodbye.
Okay. All right. I'll do that then.
All right.
Thank you everyone for spending your
Thank you,
evening with me.
Kelly.
I appreciate you. Bye.
Bye.